And speaking of nuclear threats, North Korea and South Korea have exchanged artillery fire near their disputed western border, raising all kinds of questions and concerns about what's going to happen in that region. Well, interestingly enough, the dollar and the Swiss franc became stronger because demand for the currencies was boosted. RT contributor and investigative journalist Wayne Madsen is here to talk about that connection. So you've said that there is a connection there. What is it?
Well, the people always flock to the U.S. dollar as a safe haven anytime there's an increase in tensions, because really the only thing backing up the U.S. dollar is America's huge military power. So there's a tendency to invest more in the dollar than in other currencies when you see.
Evelyn de Rothschild joins me now. Thank you very much for joining us today. I've got to talk about the subject of the day, which of course is Ireland. And now the spotlight seems to be turning to other periphery European countries such as Portugal and Spain. Do you think it's only a matter of time before Portugal asks the EU for aid?
Well, I think this has been going on a long time. I mean, we started with Greece, but at the same time we knew that Spain was having its problems in the property market, and Portugal was too. We always mention Italy, but Italy has been like this for 40 years, so you don't think to worry too much about that. I think it's difficult to say until we see the details. Let's see how we get out of Ireland and see what happens.
Do you think that the European project is at risk here? I mean, some say that countries such as Greece, such as Portugal, such as Spain might eventually have to leave the Euro project. I mean, do you see that eventuality?
Well, we're not members of the Euro.
Of course.
And nor is Norway.
Yeah.
But of course Norway has the great amount of oil and opportunity from a different point of view. But you know, people are so anxious to see a downfall of the Euro or the European Union. I think it's wrong. If I may say something that may be rather sensitive, have you looked at the problems of the United States? Have you looked at how many of the actual states of the United States are bankrupt? California, Michigan. What about the breakup of the United States, if you look at it comparing to what happened in Europe?
I mean, I listened to your panel downstairs and you were talking about protectionism, and you highlighted France and the US. I mean, you said these are probably two of the most protectionist nations out there.
But you want to be careful when you say that. That's from a trading point of view and from an investment point of view. But no, what I was saying from the point of view of the structure, of the financial structure of Greece, the financial structure of the banks in Ireland, as you've seen. I mean, one of the things which is very remarkable in my life is it's taken so long for people to deal with the subject. I mean, you have to give credit to Gordon Brown, rightly or wrongly, that he took a very quick action on nationalizing our three major banks in this country and trying to sort the thing out. Now, the banks shouldn't have got themselves into that trouble. The Irish banks are too big for the country. I mean, RBS has a big stake in Irish banks too, and they'll lose more money. So
I want to ask you a question, and putting on your former role as an investment banker at NM Rothschild.
Hello everyone, welcome to Global Government News. Today is Tuesday, November 23rd, 2010, and I'm Darko. Please like to ask new listeners to please visit my website, www.ggnonline.com. That's ggnonline.com. I post all my videos there, and there's some information about who I am as well. Also, you know, I have got a few donations, and I don't really expect them to come flooding in or anything. And just a thank you, and the commenting and watching the videos is really enough for me. But there is the option to donate on there, and if you do, then God bless you. Thank you very much. Appreciate anything. But this, you just saw, that was Evelyn de Rothschild. He was talking about, you know, how everything just happened to be the way it did. The banks are irresponsible, and they're not going to, you know, they're not going to profit off of this. And you go to this article and it says Rothschild Bank and Goldman Sachs are both on the list of bondholders getting U.S. taxpayers billions in Irish bailout. So I guess this is Guy de Rothschild, who is deceased, and these people, these same like black jackets, they're just creepy looking. They're white hair, you know. It says U.S. taxpayers finance approximately 20% of the IMF's budget. I thought they financed more, but I thought it was like 50%. But anyways, guess what, Ireland? It says Brian Linehan and Brian Cohen just sold you down the IMF river. Why? To bail out banks, bondholders, and giant European banks. Of course, says that's what governments are for these days, apparently. That's what corporatism is. Says, and they'll tell you the bailout policy is all for your own good and for little old ladies and pensioners and orphans. Just don't tell that to the cancer patients. Says, yep, another nation made IMF debt slaves on behalf of the international banking cartels, and Goldman Sachs and Rothschild and Company are on the list. It says, check out Guido Fawkes' blog, and he's acquired a list of the Anglo-Irish bank bondholders. So you can go here and you can see basically Goldman Sachs, and then you can go down here and you can see Rothschild. So we're going to move on to this next article from Press TV. Euro at stake over Irish bailout. It says Germany says the shared European currency is now at stake after Ireland accepted an international bailout package to support its debt-ridden economy, or shoved down our throats. Says German Finance Minister Wolfgang Schäuble said the euro is in danger of falling after Ireland asked for help from the EU and the IMF to cope with its growing budget deficit and troubling banking system. And I saw a picture on Reuters. I should probably just go in there and show it to you, but it basically said, well, here you go, IMF, get out. And there's a picture of that. So I don't think that Ireland is sitting there begging for this. Like, I guess we got to do it. So there's obviously people that don't want this. We're going to move on now. Next one up is gold. Gold futures rise slightly on haven buying, and this was from yesterday, so we're going to jump to today. Gold climbs as euro woes, and of course, Korea revives safe haven bid. Gold rose to a 7-session high on Tuesday as tensions on the Korean peninsula and mounting worries over the European debt crisis prompted investors to buy both the metal and the U.S. dollar as safe havens. In oil slips as dollar up on eurozone lows, and Korea oil prices slipped on Tuesday in a choppy trading as fears of an escalating eurozone crisis and a North Korean attack on a South Korean island triggered a rally in the dollar, though buyers returned when oil fell to a session low near $80, which limited losses. The next one up is Fed pondered radical steps to support recovery. And it says here, a weaker economic outlook prompted Federal Reserve officials to consider more radical steps to aid the economy before settling on $600 billion in bond purchases earlier this month. And we move here. And I recommend checking out inflation.us. Their website or their channel, Vision Victory. He has a nice little video where he covers this and basically shows from the beginning of November when they started this, quote, quantitative easing measure, that basically the bonds started to either lose value or points. I'm not exactly sure how bonds, I know how they work. I just, as far as the decrease, I don't know if it was a decrease in points, percentages, or what, so you have to go in there and check it, but basically it didn't look good. Whatever the Fed is doing as far as buying on these bonds, they're going to have to print more money. It's going to mean inflation, and that's the point I'm trying to make with that. So, stock markets fall amid Ireland woes. Global stock markets have tumbled as investors worry that Ireland's debt crisis could spread to other financially weak countries in the eurozone. And just going off that, while all this is going on, that's what Vision Victory was trying to say, that here at home in the U.S. and the North American Union, we have a bond bubble going on, and it's a lot bigger of a deal to Americans than what's going on over here. Basically they're just going through what Portugal and the U.S. and other countries that, quote, got bailed out. So Japanese did it too. There's a bunch of different countries that did this. This one is from Zero Hedge, and it says the beginning of the Ponzi end. As of today, the biggest holder of U.S. debt is Ben Bernanke, and it goes down here and shows you in a chart. It says it's from September, and it says top holders of U.S. debt, and you have Federal Reserve coming here, and what, 900 billion? So yeah, it's $1 billion. Then the next one is mainline China. Next one is Japan. I was surprised to see that, but yeah, Japan is the third. And then you have UK and then oil exporters. So we're going to move on here because we're running out of time. Please check out all of these articles if you want to look into it further. Links will be posted. Stocks drop on Korean tension and eurozone woes. Warren Buffett, there's our buddy. Warren Buffett agrees tax the rich. We reported Friday on a group of millionaires calling for the tax breaks to expire. Now Warren Buffett, the third richest man in the world, is joining that chorus. And he told ABC that the tax breaks for the rich don't help the economy. So he said the rich are always going to say that, just give us more money and we'll go out and spend more and then it'll trickle down for the rest of you, Buffett said. But that has not worked the last 10 years and I hope the American public is catching on. So next one up, global inflation level hits new high. This is from the 22nd on People's Daily Online. Figures from several countries are showing that rising prices are having a ripple effect, affecting nations from Latin America to Europe to Asia. Ying Heng takes a look at how they're tackling the problem. And we're going to keep moving here. Half of export enterprises can bear a 3% yuan appreciation. And next one up, China can ensure price stability. China is able to ensure the stability of the general level of market prices. China's National Development of Reform Commission said, the country's top economic planner. He wrote in an article published on its website on the 22nd. This next one is economists. Drastic tightening not necessary for China. And it says, although inflation is the biggest risk facing China's economy, which is expected to grow at a staggering pace of 10% this year, high inflation is not on the horizon, said Fang Gang, a famous Chinese economist, according to overseas edition of the People's Daily Online. This next one up, 1 year reprieve from death tax prompting die quickly decisions. I covered this in my eugenics, but I'll cover it in the economy. A very rich person could save his or her heirs a lot of money in taxes by dying before New Year's Day, and for some families, that quirk in the tax laws is raising a troubling question. Should taxes factor into the timing of the end of life decisions? So pull that plug and save some taxes, guys. Ireland, it's all about what? Was it death and taxes? From the day you're born to the moment you die, dude, you're being taxed. And you're a part of the state. Ireland to merge banks as part of EU IMF bailout. And then the next one up we have is EU IMF officials extend talks with Greece. And let's keep moving. California accelerates bond sale deal. California increased the size of its latest general obligation bond deal to $1.25 billion and accelerated the sale process Monday amidst robust demand from individual investors, a stark turnaround from last week when the state found tepid interest in some of its debts. And finishing up, it says individual investors on Friday and Monday placed orders for $987.3 million of what had been a $1 billion deal, a spokesman for the state treasurer Bill Lockyer said. Buoyed by the interest, California decided to borrow $250 million more and open the sale to insurers, pension funds, and other institutional investors Monday afternoon, a day sooner than planned. Australia to examine foreign takeovers. Australia's centre-left Labour government said Tuesday will examine foreign ownership of the country's rural land and agricultural food production in response to a spat of takeovers that have triggered anxiety about job losses and broader concerns about food security, whereas about foreign ownership have been mostly limited to mining and energy sectors, where a wave of investment by Chinese state-owned firms has threatened a loss of sovereignty and price control over commodities such as iron ore and coal. But last week's delisting of wheat exporter AWB Limited, an icon of the country's agribusiness, highlights increasing pressure, and that's where they cut us off. So we're going to move on and finish up. Some states weigh unthinkable option, ending Medicaid. Check that out. AP exclusive, raising retirement age hurts the poor. So this is a hurts low-income workers. Higher gas prices. Holiday drivers face higher gas prices. Refinery troubles. Weaker dollar help boost costs at the pump. Analysis. Irish EU bailout may not stop Portugal follow-up. So it looks like Portugal's next. OECD predicts slowing economic recovery. New report says the world economy is not recovering from the global recession as predicted, showing signs of weakness in emerging countries in the U.S. Irish bailout, a bad deal for Britain. Government spending can jumpstart the economy. U.S. Federal Reserve Ben Bernanke is publicly calling Congress to raise government spending to help boost the economy. Next one up is millions to lose unemployment benefits. Millions are expected to lose their unemployment and terrorist check required for financing loans.